Oh my, we are back again. They said we couldn't do it, they said we wouldn't do it, but god damn it, we did, and here we are. Degreelessness rides onward. I'm your host, Shanghai Pete, 21st Century Digital Boy, the original edgelord, and your good buddy in the mix. Hope everyone had a pleasant weekend. Maybe you dipped your wick. Maybe you got high and played Super Mario Bros. 3 for 13 hours. Maybe you got thrown out of the club and puked in the street. Or maybe you just had a nice evening at home with your family. Whichever it is that sounds most fun to you, I hope that you did that and had an excellent time of it. That is enough for pleasantries. However, the devious and detestable gaming industry has, of course, been up to its old tricks. So accordingly, we must get deep inside to debunk or denounce as necessary. Remember to please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy our stupid little channel and our shenanigans here. And for those of you that are especially deranged, there's links to tip us by becoming a member of the channel or subscribing on Patreon down below. Just time for a quick recap of the week though, which surprisingly enough has been dominated by games that people actually like. I know. I'm surprised too. While I continue to ignore Marvel rivals, it continues to shame silly little games like Overwatch, who recently brought back loot boxes. Great idea, I'm sure that'll go over super well. Standard industry business practice that we've all sadly become very used to over here. If you can't compete with the game, don't try to improve your game, just jack up prices and toss in more loot boxes. Excellent. That ought to do it. Thanks very much, guys.
That ought to do it. Thanks very much.
In other, better news, Obsidian's Avowed continues to be well received. Now, I personally only have a few hours into it, so I'm not really sure I have a take on it yet, but so far I'm having fun. I'd probably be farther in all honesty, but I'm too busy playing the Tales of Grace's F remaster, yes, a game from the PS3, and Fantasian Neo Dimension, both of which are great. I'm most astonished by Fantasian, maybe, but perhaps I shouldn't be considering who's behind it. I love being able to set the battle music to FF Pixel Remaster, that's so cool. I'm only about 7-8 hours in, but so far it kind of seems like a long-lost brother to FF9, and I love it. I was trying to branch out from FPSs and JRPGs after finishing the DQ3 remake and Metaphor, both of which rocked, but instead I kind of just played Forgive Me Father 2, an amazing Lovecraft-themed boomer shooter, go play it, and went straight into Tales and Fantasian. So much for that. I know I don't have any self-control, and I'm sorry my tastes are more interesting. That aside though, lastly this week, we have a little drams direct to you from the haunted and traumatized EA corner of the industry, yes. As many of you no doubt know by now, Dragon Age the Veilguard was, bad. Yes, it was bad. It was not good.
This isn't good.
Didn't sell very well, and it seems that aside from a very small but vocal section of the nightmare that we call the internet, most people didn't really like it. Now, if you're interested in what normal people who don't just hurl culture war buzzwords at anything they don't like thought of it, you can check out my review in the links down below. That is not the drums, though, at least not as far as adults are concerned. The drums comes from the top brass at EA, who, like our politicians and indeed any good capitalist pig, didn't hesitate to look upon their latest catastrophic failure and immediately learn the exact wrong lesson. Now, if you or I looked at Dragon Age bombing, we might think something normal, like, maybe you should have made your famous RPG series game follow-up, an RPG? Or perhaps turning a fan-beloved role-playing franchise into a generic action game wasn't the best plan. Not EA though. EA, like a good little piggy, instead thinks not enough live service needs more loot boxes. Yes, many people fortunately called out this madness for what it was, but sadly, the part no one is talking about is that EA's Andrew Wilson is actually probably right. If they had crammed a bunch of misleading and intentionally imbalanced live service and loot box garbage into the Veilguard, yeah, I bet it would probably have made them more money. That it would have made that money by exploiting and manipulating their loyal fans and customers, however, well, that's something that only we, the abused gaming proletariat, cares about. So, what I'm saying is, not only should you brace for them to double and triple down on that kind of gaming terrorism going forward, but you should also expect them to ruin Mass Effect 5 with it. That is, if by some miracle Mass Effect 5 doesn't ruin itself. Moving on, for our main story tonight, we're going to talk about Steam, a service that, considering how huge and influential it is, we probably don't discuss enough. As I was busting around the little hell world that contains the gaming industry portion of the internet this weekend, I stumbled across this curious little piece from our friends at Kotaku. Ex-Amazon exec explains why no one has beaten Steam. Yes, a brain teaser to be sure. Let's take a look. Alright, let's get my game journalist voice going. A surprising contradiction sits at the heart of PC gaming. The medium's most open platform is nevertheless dominated by a single storefront. Wow. That storefront belongs to Valve. It's called Steam, and despite plenty of challenges in the 2 decades since it launched, no one has yet come close to unseating the Counter-Strike maker's grip on the PC gaming market. Amazon was one of the companies that tried, and one of its retired VPs recently explained his take on why nobody has succeeded. As VP of Prime Gaming at Amazon, something I still can't believe is even a goddamn thing, we failed multiple times to disrupt the game platform Steam. Ethan Evans, who retired as VP of Prime Gaming in 2020 after a 15-year stint at the company, wrote on LinkedIn last week. We were at least 250 times bigger and we tried everything, but ultimately Goliath lost. Yes, you tried everything except perhaps for, I don't know, providing a better value than Steam does. It's really, and this is basically spoilers for my entire take on this, but it's really amazing to see all these corpo morons, these brain dead capitalist zombies running around being like, oh God, how do we disrupt Steam? How do we disrupt Steam? And the one thing that they, of course, never think of is providing a better value for the customers. How do we beat this insane product? Could we, I don't know, try making a better product? No, anything but that. Evans went on to list 3 initiatives Amazon pursued to try and steal PC gaming market share away from Steam. Notably, the list does not contain making something that provides a better value than Steam. That was shockingly absent from the things that they've tried. The first was acquiring a small PC game store called Reflexive Entertainment and trying to scale it. The second was building out its own PC game store and using Twitch's popularity to drive players towards it. Finally, there was Luna, Amazon's game streaming service, right? None of these made a dent, shocking, and efforts by EA, Ubisoft, Bethesda, and other publishers to build stores by locking their respective PC games behind annoying proprietary launchers eventually failed as well. That's so weird. Trying to force customers' behavior and compelling them to use products they didn't want using proprietary software failed? You don't say that. That is weird. I wonder how that failed. That's strange. Even the Epic Game Store, launched back in 2017, Jesus, it's been around since 2017, that's crazy, is still a Fortnite launcher first and a Steam rival second. Despite giving away tons of free games every year to people just for logging on, Epic's storefront feels like it's stalled out. Yes, it feels that way because it has. No one ever wanted to use it, people still don't want to use it, and you guys thinking you can just toss free games at people for like the low price of having their telemetry and activity tracked and spamming them with emails and all kinds of trash that they never asked for is going to somehow get them to abandon a platform that many people have used for like their entire adult life? Yeah, it's going to take a little bit more than that. Like, does any of the people that worked on any of these so-called Steam killers ever even consider just who their market is? PC users, people who like to frequent subreddits like PC Master Race. You think that making bloatware for a PC is gonna somehow like bring these people over? It's just insanity and shows how little forethought and research was actually put into this kind of stuff. And that's not even taking into account the piracy aspect of it. So many people are just gonna grab a torrent of shit, especially when those games are starting to cost upwards of $80 to $100. And that's not to say that piracy is or ever was a phenomenon that caused any sort of serious economic impact to any of the entertainment industries. It is not and never has. But, I mean, again, crazy, but to quote Gabe, the guy who came up with Steam, piracy is a service problem. And imagine that, the people who have made an actual, I mean, I'm not going to call Steam great because I don't think that it's great, but a decent service are the people who command that market share. Wow. Maybe I should be the one giving lessons in capitalism. Ex-Prime Gaming exec Evans goes on to muse, I think the mistake was that we underestimated what made consumers use Steam. Wow, that's a stunning analysis. It was a store, a social network, a library, and a trophy case all in one, and it worked well. At Amazon, we assumed that size and visibility would be enough to attract customers. Oh. Yes, of course you assumed that. But we underestimated the power of existing user habits. We never validated our core assumptions before investing heavily in solutions. The truth is that gamers already had the solution to their problems, and they weren't going to switch platforms just because the new one was available. Yes, obviously. They weren't going to switch platforms just because the new one was available. And let's finish the sentence here, unless it provided a better value, which of course is something that never occurred to you rapacious fucks because it would have involved, you know, making slightly less profit in exchange for providing customers with something good. Yes, never that. Now, to their credit, the Kotaku writer here actually does read this or translate it correctly, saying what the retired executive is essentially saying is that Amazon, in typical Amazon fucking hubris, thought people would show up simply because it was Amazon, when if it really wanted to take Steam on, it needed to actually give players a reason to switch. Oh, God, that is, man, that's insane. That's insane. Why would we ever have a reason to do that, you might think? Yeah, I wonder what kind of stuff they're teaching in Harvard business classes these days. Jesus. Oh boy. Oh boy, guys. We needed to build something dramatically better, but we failed to do so, he wrote. Yes, a fact that myself, an idiot sitting in the room smoking blunts all the time, was able to easily grasp, along with God knows how many other people around the world, but somehow managed to elude all the NBAs at Amazon with 7-figure salaries. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And we needed to validate our assumptions about our customers before starting to build. But we never really did that either. Just because you are big enough to build something doesn't mean people will use it. Yeah, tell that to Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams, you motherfucker. It's a testament to Valve as much as it's an indictment of C-suite brain rot. Yeah, C-suite brain rot that for some reason only seems to be getting more widespread and pervasive instead of starting to die out. I wonder why that is. For all the valid criticism of Steam, the lack of moderation, terrible discovery tools, Nazi-ridden forums, and aging infrastructure, it still works pretty damn well. I mean, it works okay. Then you have all of the ecosystem lock-in, from the social network aspect to new Steam sales adding more cheap games to players' libraries every season, plus it's now basically the de facto launching ground for the biggest unexpected hits of any given year, from Balatro to Palworld. In addition to everything else, Steam is one of the main drivers of the attention economy around gaming, which is why a cool timed exclusive might hit the Epic Game Store and you will never hear a peep about it. Yeah. It doesn't feel great that one company controls so much about one of the biggest and fastest growing ways people play games, but then again, it also sucked when companies tried to compete by making everyone maintain 5 different windows for booting up PC games. Maybe instead of competing for market share and platform dominance, more companies could follow GOG in creating a DRM-free future for PC gaming. Unlikely, but no more so than unseating Steam at this point. And with that, I would have to agree with Kotaku. See, they kind of latch on to the actual point right there at the end. People love GOG because it provides a good product at a good value. That's it. It's not complicated. It's not a mystery. It's always been this simple. Step 1, provide a good product that's a good value. Step 2, price it competitively. There are no more steps. And you'll also notice that all GOG's games are provided DRM free, meaning anyone can and does pirate them relatively easily. And yet they still manage to turn a profit and maintain a stable business model despite not being anywhere close to the size of the Epic Game Store, Steam, or Amazon. Because at the end of the day, everything else aside, they provide a good value for the consumer. Wow. It's amazing how that works, huh?
Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out. Pass out. Woke up, what up, smoke up, blunt, then I'm back down. Back down. What? Woke up, smoke up, blunt, then I pass out. Pass out.